Okay, so today we're going to talk briefly about how to plot functions. And I am going to use as a sample example problem 2-6. It's from page 46 in your math textbook. So get that out and look at that. We're plotting height versus time. First thing we want to do is set up a couple of vectors, one for our time and one for the height. Here comes the time vector. So let's put that guy in there like this. There we go. So now we're going from 0 to 0.8 seconds, and we're having every 100th of a second. We're going to look at the time. Next, let's get our height in there. And this is the function right from the textbook. And so I'm going to paste this guy in there. There we go. The height is negative 4.9 t squared plus 0.6 times t plus 1.5. The semicolon after here is just to suppress the output so I don't get a bunch of garbage at the end. So at this point, I should have a time vector and a height vector, and I just want to plot those guys and see what they look like. So I'm going to do that by looking at this. Now notice the plot command is talked about on page 134 in the MATLAB book. So go to page 134 in your MATLAB book and look at that. But basically, it's plot, and then this is the x-axis, which is the independent variable, and second is the y-axis, the vertical axis, which is the dependent variable. And I'm just going to go ahead and save this guy and run it. Let's see what happens when we do this. There we go. There's our diagram. I can see we start up here and it goes down. There, that kind of looks like what I expect it to look like. So I'm happy. It's calculating things correctly and plotting. Now, in addition to our plot, I'd like to have a grid because, well, let's look at that guy again. When we look at our graph, we're going to want to know about what time it went through 0. And it would be nice if there was a grid on here. So I'm going to put in the grid command. And when I do that, save it and run it. All right, now I have a plot with a grid. We want to see where it crosses 0. It looks like it's there after 0.6 seconds is where our diver is going to hit the water. Of course, none of this stuff after the diver's in the water are valid. The equation they gave us is only valid when he's in the air. So we really don't care about anything that's below 0. But in the meantime, I want to have X and Y axis labels on there. Go to page 144 in the MATLAB book and you'll see details on this. In the meantime, to save typing time, I'm just going to cut and paste them in here. There, so it's going to label the x-axis as time in seconds. The y-axis is the height of our diver. And so my y-axis label will look like this. My y-axis label is the height, and that's in meters. Once again, we're going to save this guy. Let's run it and see what happens. There we go. There's our graph. We have a grid in there. My x-axis is labeled time, and units are seconds. My y-axis is the height, and the units are in meters.